Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and I'm here to do a little bit of a fun look at a gorgeous book that I have a feeling you're going to be seeing a lot of because I definitely feel like it has caught people's attention. I had first saw this just a few days ago on, I believe it was For Love of Cards. It was on Facebook, and Johoanna Robson had posted, I think, a picture of it. Or she posted a link to her video talking about it. I'm not sure which, but she posted it, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes. And I will put a link to her video below. She does do a video where she talks about it, and I'll put a link to that in the description box. And so thank you, Johoanna, for pointing this lovely, lovely book out to me. So I ordered it on Amazon, and of course it comes 2 days later, which is a lovely thing. This is by Storey, STOREY.com. I guess that's the publisher of this. It is called The Illustrated Herbiary, which I love. Guidance and Rituals from 36 Bewitching Botanicals by Maya Toll. The illustrations are by Kate O'Hara, and the illustrations are stunning. This book is just gorgeous, and it comes with a deck of cards that are it's in a sheet, all connected together, 4 cards on a sheet in this envelope in the back. So you do have to pull them apart. I like the concept, it's having this book and this deck all in one. In theory, I would have preferred the deck to be a separate deck simply because I think the cardstock would have been better. I definitely recommend that you cut the cards apart rather than tear the cards apart. If you tear the cards apart, you get a lot more little pokey things where they're connected just in a small space. But when you snip them, that's a lot smoother. I also went back and kind of re-smoothed the edges as best as I could. And then I did go ahead and edge it, which also I think helps. You can possibly see, where they're connected at 2 points on, each side to other cards. And so I would have preferred, obviously, a separate deck with a little bit better cardstock. And it's not horrible. For what this is, it's not horrible, but it's certainly thin. It's certainly not great cardstock. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. So I love the concept of it. But ideally this would have been sort of a separately produced deck, I think, rather than having to cut them apart. But I do really love the idea of having the book and the cards in the back. It is a great concept. So I'm not going to niggle too much about it. We'll come back to the cards in a minute because I think that the star here is certainly the book, although I really love the deck as well. So I love that she calls this the Herbiary. So this is a little bit of a take, I'm assuming, I think she even talks about this off of a bestiary, right? And I think, now you're getting a pretty, yes. A bestiary is a collection of short descriptions about all sorts of animals, real and imaginary, birds and even rocks, accompanied by moralizing explanation. And she goes on, talks, this is a quote, I think, from Aberdeen, the University of Aberdeen, about the Aberdeen bestiary. Maya Toll says, an herbiary is a collection of short writings about botanicals, medicinal, decorative, and whimsical. Although it alludes to healing properties, it is never meant to be prescriptive. Many observations are quite accurate, but they should not be seen as superior to creative or fanciful descriptions and symbolic flights of fancy. A great deal of its charm comes from the depth and creativity of its illustrations, allowing us to see what otherwise would remain hidden. So I quite love that, and you can just see from the outset, or just from the outer part of the book, it's absolutely beautiful. There are some metallic sheens. It's a flat metallic sheen, not like a shiny, but it is so stunning in person. I've left the window open, hoping you can pick up on the sheen of the book, because it's just really beautiful. It feels amazing. It looks amazing. It's lush. It's vibrant. It's just an absolutely beautiful experience book, right? And there are some books that are, the text is the focus and you don't need anything on it but, plain brown covers. But some books are experiences, visual experiences, and this is certainly one of those. It retails for $19.95, but I paid on Amazon 15 or under. I think it was $14 or $15. And you have the book and the deck of cards. The inside covers, I think Johoanna talks about this. I mean, this is so stunning, and it's the same as the backing of the cards, which is really beautiful. And they're not all exactly the same. Like, I don't know, you know, it would have been obviously to do with where, because this is a repeat pattern, so you are going to see the same bird, but every card is not the exact same on the backing, but it all comes from that same, and it has that same sort of and the copper tones, it has that same metallic, matte metallic sheen to it. That is just beautiful. So, I mean, again, everything's just lush from this. I mean, look at this very first illustration, which is of the clover card. It's absolutely stunning. It's bright, bold colors. The illustrations by Kate O'Hara are amazing. Of course, it has a dandelion in the front, and so why would I not get something that had a dandelion in the front? That is just a stamp from the universe saying this is for you. Has a beautiful, beautiful contents. Again, everything is so, it's like an illustrated manuscript. It's gorgeous. The one side, you know, these are little quibbles. I'm not a fan of contents that are not alphabetized, because when you're going back to finding it, for some reason I was trying to find Quaking Aspen, and I just went over this like 3 times. Now I have been quite sick this week. This is kind of a fun thing. I have lots of work to catch up, but it's kind of like I'm going to do something fun. So I will say that could have played a role in it. However, I do prefer, unless there's some reason, and I'm not entirely sure that there's a reason why these couldn't have been alphabetized. But that's, again, a minor quibble, but it is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. But at least it's just on 2 pages, and so you can, you know, do a quick scan and find it. I do like that it has the name of the plant, and then it also has the keyword right there. That's a little touch that I quite like. So, but it's beautiful. She goes into a preface where she kind of talks and I'm sorry, yeah, there's the preface, but she goes into an introduction that's really quite interesting about her experience as being apprenticed to a medicine woman, and so and how romantic that might be and how not romantic that might be. So that was really beautiful. Again, just everything visually experiencing this book is, and I'm not obviously going to go through the entire book because that would I mean, yeah, that defeats the purpose of getting the book, although I do it with Dagstone. I will be going through the cards, so you'll see all the illustrations. But you can see that you get a full-size illustration of the card. Now, let me find these cards are not in order, which I'm not going to put in order because it's not like it's numbered or alphabetized to need to do so. But let me just see if I can quickly, you know how well that usually goes. Here's one I know we can look at. Here we go. I just wanted to see if it was the full illustration or some of it was cut off. But yeah, it's the full illustration on the card. So here is the card itself, which is a little larger than poker size. So this is this Lenormand deck is a poker size card. You can see it's slightly taller and a little bit wider than a poker size card. It's a nice little size. But here you can see this absolutely stunning illustration. If you go on to the Instagram page of the artist, Kate O'Hara, it's really neat because she shows the illustration and then she kind of shows the sketching behind it. It's really neat to be able to see that. There's also a video sort of introduction to the book that I will put in the description box below because I think it's really worth watching. So yeah, so you get this full page of this gorgeous illustration, which is what you get in the card. The card itself has both the name of the plant and then the sort of keyword title that has been given to this particular plant. And so, I mean, this is stunning. You have these beautiful chickweed here, but you also have the constellations and all of that kind of stuff going on. It's just stunning. So, you know, another example would be what we just saw at the beginning, which was just, this is also a card, but it's up here. You can see it's the full illustration, and it's just good. These are gorgeous, but being able to really sit and look at these in this size and it's just beautiful. But I will say, in terms of like color saturation, like it looks very similar, the card, to the image there. They did a really good job translating that into the cards. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, let me see, is there an actual... Let's do the dandelion, because you know I love dandelions. So, there we go. Now, sadly, you know, as much as I love dandelions, I don't like faces and suns, but, you know, I wish this had just been a beautiful large dandelion, but this is not my deck and I didn't create it. So, but we'll use this to read so you can get an idea of what you get with the book. So the keyword for dandelion is perseverance, which is something I really like because that's, I think, a different keyword than you often see associated with dandelion. Taraxacum officinale, I don't know what that means, to be honest. Some say like the species that it's in. I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, that means XYZ. Well, most say species. This doesn't say the species. Dandelion is bold, bright, and sunny. She pushes through cracks in cement and worms her way into the mortar of stone walls, cheerfully. Dandelion's medicine is perseverance, but not the perseverance of the martyr. Instead, Dandelion is the eternal optimist. Like the Fool in the tarot deck, she's always happy to set off on a new adventure in hope of learning more and digging deeper. She's not an airy optimist, though, with no grounding in reality. Her roots are strong. She is the shaman and the Buddha, and her message just makes me so happy. And her message is this: happiness is an inner landscape that has little to do with where you're planted. When you're ready to make your own joy, whatever life throws at you, call on the dandelion. So she has like, you know, the first page tends to be this, you know, talking about the plant directly, whether there's some medicine involved there. Like she said, I really like how she wrote this, that yes, there may be some medicinal properties mentioned. This isn't meant to be a prescription manual here, and that they could be accurate, but at the same time there's things to be found in the fanciful descriptions and the symbols and the flights of fancy. So it's a bit of the oracle, I think, is also in these flights of fancies and the way that she looks at these herbs in this particular book. So then she gives a ritual for each, and I think the reflection is for each, yes. So the ritual is a visit with the dandelion. Most plants need very specific climates to thrive, but dandelion adapts to a wide range of environments, which means that no matter where you are and no matter which season you're in, you're likely to find dandelion hanging about. If you're feeling the pull of dandelion medicine, head out for a walk and see if you can spot this golden weed in the wild. Urban or rural, it doesn't matter. Don't feel like walking? Call on Dandelion's cheerful perseverance to get yourself moving. On your walk, see if you can find Dandelion's sunny face. If you want, smile back at her. You might find yourself suddenly a tiny bit happier. Notice where she's growing and what she has to overcome to thrive there. Is she standing tall or hugging the ground? Is she in shade, sun or in shade? Does she grow through soil or rock or concrete? What can you learn from your observations? Finally, notice whether you come home from your visit with Dandelion feeling a bit more able to handle the ups and downs of modern life. So she gives some kind of a ritual, something to do to connect with the energy, and then a reflection, learning to adapt. Dandelion does this amazing thing. When she grows on a lawn that's mowed regularly, she stays short, so her flowers pass under the mower's blades. How can you, like Dandelion, adapt to the world around you? What little change can you make that will allow you to thrive in your current situation? If your mood turns if your mood turns sour and you're unable to maintain Dandelion's cheerfulness, ask yourself whether you need a mood adjustment or whether you're pushing up against an obstacle that's taking you off your true path. Remember, perseverance isn't about putting up with untenable situations. It's about knowing the difference between that which is difficult but doable and that which is simply unhealthy for your soul. And then there's a beautiful illustration also of the actual plants in each one, which is lovely. There's often quotes that are thrown in. So you always have sort of a ritual, and then you have a reflection. And then, of course, the beautiful, and then the space to kind of just have a little discussion about the plant. So you can just see that this is just really stunning. Here's Mugwort, which is gorgeous. Lives in the space between deep rest and waking. She's the daughter of moonlight and protector of those who travel to dream time. Mugwort curls around your mind, whispering your dreams into words and images that you can clutch as you climb levels of consciousness and return to your waking self. While Mugwort's constant vigil makes her a bit waspish and bitter, she knows the many layered worlds and can guide you through the serpentine paths of the collective unconscious. Call on her to guide you through dreams or journey work. If Mugwort appears to you, she's calling you to dip into these subtler realms. This is a stunning card, and you can see that there's a very different voice, right? You have sort of a cheeriness about the dandelion, a little sweetness about the dandelion, and you can see feel more of a depth in the writing. So the writing does shift and move, and there are cards that are absolutely stunning, some that are a little more, like this would probably be one of my least favorites, even though I love dandelions, where this to me is an absolutely stunning illustration. So, I mean, look at elderberry with the moons here. And then the plant you can see entwining throughout it is absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a look at the cards so that you can see the cards. But I have not read this from cover to cover. I mean, look at nettle. Pay attention. I love this. I love this because it's talking about paying attention. And if we don't take the time to know the different plants, all we do is look outside and see a muddle of green. But if we take the time to really start looking, right, we can start to really learn this, because we do tend to lump pretty flowers, anything without flowers, or just weeds, these types of things. So yeah, it's really beautiful. I have not, again, read it from head to toe, but I have read a good chunk of it, and it's very enjoyable. This Crossroads one is really beautiful, the Vervain. And I love how she makes the cross. You can see the crossroads in the illustration. So it's quite lovely. In the back, she does have a section on how to work with the cards. A 1 card, a 2 card, which is interesting because of the crossing, right? So it is... the cross card gives you insight into places where you might be stuck. So 1 card, choose 1 card to represent you, and then draw a card to see what's crossing you. So you're picking one mindfully, and then you're drawing one to see what might be blocking your way. That's interesting there. This one I've used a couple times, and again, I just got this, but I love this because it connects with another deck that I'm working with, which is the Moon Oracle, which has the moon signs associated with going from root to shoot to flower to fruit, and then that one goes on a little bit further. But I love this concept of the growth and the way that they all can connect and build into each other. You wouldn't have the flower, right, if you didn't have the root, if you didn't have the flower coming up and then the flower drops off and you get the fruit. It's all part of a cycle, and you need, they build off of each other. So it makes a really lovely reading. Again, because I've been working with a reading similar to this, I find this to be really beautiful. Again, there's little quotes in the book. Glance at the sun, see the moon and the stars, gaze at the beauty of Earth's greenings. All nature is at the disposal of humankind. We are to work with it, for without nature we cannot survive. Hildegard of Bingen. So yeah, it's just lovely. In the back you have a full sort of look at all of the cards in, set aside in with their titles and everything, just like the cards look. And then we have some thank yous here, and here we have a picture of Maya Toll, and it says she is an herbalist, storyteller, folklorist, and women's wisdom mentor. She opened her natural product shop, Herbiary, herbiary.com, after returning from a year-long apprenticeship with a traditional healer in Ireland. She is a registered herbalist with the American Herbalist Guild and teaches across the globe. You can find her latest writings, online classes, and information about her in-person retreats at mayatoll.com. And then you have this envelope where the cards were in before I cut them apart, which I should have done after doing this, but what can I say? What can I say? So it's absolutely gorgeous. Again, it's one of those experience books that you can enjoy the experience of it, but then at the same time you end up with this beautiful deck to work with. You can use these to set out for intentions. You can use them for readings, as they showed. There's so many different ways that you can use these types of decks. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Again, here is the stunning backing. Cardstock, again, not great. It's kind of a paper cardstock. It's not bad. Like, I've seen worse in some like cheap book sets where they have an almost cardboardy, where this does not. This actually has like a sheen to it. It's got a nice feel. Do I feel strongly that it's going to hold up well? Not so much, but I will probably be overhand shuffling this more than riffle shuffling it, although you can riffle shuffle it. So here we have Time with Distill Yourself. I love the maze here. It's got the little arrow. It's just beautiful. Oops. You Are Sacred with Tulsi. A Spoonful of Sugar with Marshmallow. Some of them, to me are more cutesier than others, but I think they go with, the concept, obviously, of the keyword and what they're kind of focusing on. And this is beautiful. For Inner Sanctum with Sweet Violet. Absolutely love Sweet Violet and absolutely love this card. Has a mandala look to it. Elderberry with Cyclicality. I'm not sure if is that an actual word? I'm sure it is. But idea of cycles, obviously. This is stunning. We looked at that larger. Be Yourself with the Daisy. I love the sort of snapshot, like selfie of the daisy here. Beautiful. Chickweed for Start Fresh. A Center and Ground with a beautiful red clover illustration. We Are One with a Quaking Aspen. This was interesting too because it talks about, you think of the quaking as maybe quaking in fear, but it's more with laughter and other energies. So that was an interesting read. What Needs Mending with Comfrey. I love the chrysalis there. Heart's Home. I had this card yesterday, an Instagram picture. I drew this for one of the 4 card readings. Hawthorne. St. John's Wort, Light in the Darkness. It's absolutely gorgeous. Defying Gravity with the reishi mushrooms is so beautiful, and it almost has like the, not almost, it does have the trigrams, the I Ching trigrams around it. Create Space with the Raspberry. White Willow, it has the Ways of Water. How beautiful is this illustration? you know, I've been really doing a lot of prep for my OM class, and so it was neat to see some of the similar, you know, like the willow. There are some trees in here, although this is much more based obviously on herbs. Exuberant Quietude with the passion flower. This is beautiful. Just Be Oats. I love this. It's just gorgeous. This reminds me of the Celtic Tree Oracle. There's an older illustrated one, my very first deck, but the image here in the middle reminds me of that. I love the waters here. Pay Attention with the Nettle. Tap Your Resource with Burdock. I like the cauldron and the candles here. Clear the Way with White Sage. I mean, how powerful is that with the elemental signs here, the bones, the ravens or the crows here. It's just gorgeous. That's really powerful. Release Rigidity with Valerian. The plant's growing out of the cat's tail. Crack Open with the Rose. Love the moon cycles, love the swords, love the prominent thorns. Makes me think of the Fool card in Tarot of the Hidden Realms, where he's holding the rose, but they're thorns. So you get that idea of the sweetness, but they're also the difficulty in life. Beautiful. Let Magic In with Vervain. Love this mullion with Integration. Love the Spider's Web. Yeah, this is really cool. This is really beautiful too. This reminds me of the Ciro Marchetti Oracle deck that doesn't have any titles on it. I don't know, it has that feeling to me. Remembrance. Tie a string around your finger for remembrance. Rosemary. Beautiful. Ripple Outward, Self-Heal. I love this. I did some sketching of Self-Heal. Again, probably so sad. This one just hurts my soul because it's my least favorite image and it's my most favorite flower. So, Perseverance with the Dandelion. This is gorgeous. It says Rewild, I think, with Plantain. I'm curious about that. I think, again, I should have my between the medication and my not having glasses on, this is probably, and these are not hard to read. I don't have my glasses on, and I am definitely on some medications that are messing with my eyes. Plantain, Rewild. If you let her, Plantain will share stories of wagon trains and ocean crossings and Alexander's shenanigans in Egypt. Given a chance, she'll make a traveler of you too, drawing you gently out of your comfort zone, moving you from safe to the edge of the world, pushing the boundaries of civilized behavior and laughing at your scruples. It will start with a small thing. Plantain might offer a leaf to ease a sting or the itch of poison ivy. Just chew it and spit it on the bite, she'll encourage. Great Aunt Hilda would have a heart attack, you think, while your inner wild child smiles gleefully at this baby step away from civilized. Like that. Love this. California Poppy and Resurrection. I was about to say Reservation, but it's Resurrection because I read this, the page on that. I love this image. I love, yes, Resurrection. I love this image here. I love poppies. I love the owl. I love the moon. It's just beautiful. I love this one as well. Pocket of Protection with yarrow. And I love the, it's almost like they're wood and metal gauntlets, from a suit of armor. Between Dreams with Mugwort, which we read. Forbidden Fruit with the apple. At first when I saw this one, I was like, oh, really? Do we have to go to the forbidden fruit? But I really did like when you do the look at the write-up about it. Sorry if I can speak. because it's more about what have you forbidden yourself. And she talks about how she became associated with snakes, shame, and fig leaves, and it's been all dance lessons, curtsies, and domestication from there. But she brings it back and says, Apple is the witch of the wildwood, forced to clean up and come in for tea. I love this. But a skirt and pumps can't hide her knowledge of the circling stars and cycling seasons, the deep loam of the earth, and the warm weep of a summer rain. We may think that we've tamed Wild Apple and brought her to heel, but even quasi-domesticated, she still gifts us with the sweetness of understanding ourselves. So I love that. I really liked how she kind of pulled that around. Tough Love with lavender. Fortitude with Lady's Mantle, the Hansa. Spirit into Matter with Trillium, I think is, no, not the last one. And then Finding Grace with this beautiful Starflower. So that is the deck. It's not a super large deck. I think it is 36. Yep, 36 Bewitching Botanicals. But I really, really love this little deck. I love the book and I love the little deck. It's definitely going on my personal. They shuffle really nice overhand. They've got a nice feel, even though they're thinner, because they do have a nice laminate. It's not that flat cardboard that you sometimes get in book decks or other ones that I've had that were like cheaper book deck sets. And it's not that this is a cheap one, but they shuffle overhand really well, and you can riffle them. So it's not bad for what it is. So I like that, where you could actually, if you're looking for integrating, you see yourself as trying to get integration, you could pick that particular card out, and then you can, say, okay, so this is what I'm trying to do, is integrate something. Again, I'm just randomly pulling that, even though I don't generally like to do that, but let's say that's something you're trying to work on. Whatever these are, perseverance, if you're trying to get more tightly into your inner sanctum, if you really want to let the magic in. So let's try that one. That makes a lot of sense. We all want a little magic in, right? So you're trying to let the magic in. So you pick the card that reflects what it is that you're, or in the plant that you are trying to work with. Right? And then you might pick a card to see what might be blocking you. Pay attention. So the magic might already be coming in, right? The magic might already be trying to enter, but you're not paying attention. You're not seeing the detail. You're not seeing where that's actually happening because you aren't paying attention to what's around you. You're not focusing in to see those things. And so that's, I think, a really great way to use this, because what's interesting is that you could then take, I have quite a few of these plants, like in herb jars and things of that nature, and you can certainly, if you have, I find a lot of great dried herbals at health food store, local health food store. You can certainly order them, but you could, I would pop down to the local health food store if I didn't have both of these, and see, even get, if you because we don't all live where we can walk outside and find all of these plants, but there's usually, you can usually find them, right? And so then you could actually get some vervain and get some nettle, and drop that into a little tea candle. Just sprinkle some on in terms of working with that, and sort of bringing that energy. This is what I want. This is blocking me. So how can I focus on that and unrelease that? So I love that concept of, okay, what is it you're trying to accomplish, and then seeing what's blocking you. I think that's a great little reading. And then, of course, the north, south, east, and west. I have an image of those up and a reading of that on my Instagram. But I like that it's following the roots to the shoots, to the flower, and then to the fruit. Right, and so it's going in the directional here, and so then doing a reading based on that, is something that's actually quite, I find it to be quite useful. Again, it's a reading that I do in other formats, and so I love seeing it here with, you know, with the simple plants. And of course, any of the plant decks that you might already have, you could also use this. It's a great size. I like this size of a deck. It's great for setting out, so that if you're going to be setting some intentions and you want to, you know, because you've got the titles right here, Spirit into Matter, right? You're trying to manifest something from spirit into the material world, then you might set that out with whatever other things that you might be doing in a working, whether you're setting up a crystal grid, or you're putting out some different herbs to blend to burn, or whatever you might be doing. You can kind of set that out as intention. That's a great way to use herbal decks. And so, yeah, I just think it's so vibrant and so visually just stunning that I just love. I'm really happy that Johoanna posted that picture so that I could see this, because it's definitely something I'm happy to add to my collection, and I'm going to be keeping this definitely. I have a couple decks and guidebooks that I keep over in my herbiary area, and this will be one of them that I keep over there as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and definitely check out the video links that I have below for Johoanna's video, and the introduction video by Maya Toll is really lovely. It's not very long. She's got a beautiful voice, and so I'll put that down below as well. So make sure you check those out. But I have a feeling that this is going to catch a lot of people's attention, and you're probably going to be seeing a lot of it. But it's a little something different than the standard deck that we get. So it's nice to be able to take a peek at it and show it to you.